Hello everyone. Today we're going to be learning how to install P6 Professional with the SQL Server database. This has many benefits over the SQLite and the Oracle databases, as it allows you to deal with larger file sizes, back up and restore your database, secure your database with encryption, transfer your database to another computer, or set it up so that multiple computers can connect to the same database. And another great thing about all of this is that we will be using developer licenses for all the downloads that we do today. This means that we can use these programs for developing, prototyping, and self-education as much as we would like without having to pay anything. So to get started, I will download all the files. The links for all these files will be in the description of this video. You will need to make an Oracle account if you do not already have one. However, this is all free still. Next, you'll select Download Package and type in Primavera P6. And then I'm going to select the top one and click Continue by the download queue. I won't be needing the project management documentation. And here I will not be needing the API integration. Next, I'm going to download SQL Server. You have two options, either Developer or Express. Developer is very similar to how P6 is run, where it's the full license, no restrictions, all for free. However, you cannot use it for production or profit. This is great for developing for a future project that you want to use for your company. But for now, I'm going to use Express, which is a smaller version of the full license or the developer license. But it is all free and is also available for all uses. Next, I'm going to download the SQL Server Management Studio. And finally, I'm going to download Java. Now all the files have been downloaded. I'm first going to run the Oracle file. And once these files are downloaded, I'm going to need to extract the files that are inside. So I can click here, right-click, and extract all. This should only take a moment. That is the database folder. Now I will do the same thing with the other folder. And then within that folder, I will extract again. Okay. Now that's all out of the way. I'm going to install SQL Server first. I am going to select Custom, as we need to set up the login information for the SQL Server so that P6 can communicate with it. The top option is for a SQL Server standalone installation. Now I'm just going to click through, accept the terms and licenses. I do not need Azure, and I only need the database engine services. I'm going to leave it as SQL Express, but you can change this name to however you want. Just make sure that you record the correct spelling, as we will need it later in the setup process. Okay, click Next again. And here I'll set up the login information. The username will always be SA, and the password can be whatever you like. However, it is very important that you do not lose this password, as you won't be able to access the server if you lose it. The current user is already a part of the administrators, so I'm going to add the other user that is on this computer. And once it shows up in this list, you're good to continue. And with the power of editing, I'm all done, though I recommend pausing the video until you catch up. Here we'll close the SQL installation. Then we will run the SSMS setup, or the SQL Server Management Studio. This helps us manage the server and make sure that it's running properly. Okay, that is now finished. And the final thing to install is the Java runtime environment. Okay, the final thing we're going to install for now is the P6 Professional Setup, and this is the actual P6 install file. We're not going to run the database configuration for now. Instead, I'm going to restart my computer so that way the SQL Server can start up properly, so you can come back to the time on screen to this video after you restart your computer as well. Now that we've restarted our computers, we can tell all the programs how to communicate with each other. So we're first going to open the SQL Server Management Studio, Configuration Manager. Then under SQL Server Network Configuration, click Protocols for SQL Express, then right-click TCP/IP, click Enable, then OK, then right-click again, and click Properties. Then under Properties, click IP addresses at the top, scroll all the way to the bottom, and type in 1433 to the TCP port of IP all. Click Apply, and click OK. Now we just need to restart the SQL Server. This you can do by clicking SQL Server Services. Try saying that 10 times fast. Then right-click SQL Server and click Restart. Now that it's restarted, I can close this and open up the SQL Server Management Studio. Make sure that your authentication is under SQL Server Authentication and that your login is SA. And then click Connect. If you don't connect automatically, then either the database information was entered wrong or the SQL Server hasn't restarted fully. Either way, I suggest a quick restart of your computer and try logging back into the server. However, once you've passed the login screen and are able to click into the Object Explorer, you can close this program out. Now that the server is up and running, we can tell Java how to communicate with P6. We'll do this by typing environment variables into the Start menu. And then from the System Properties, click Environment Variables at the bottom. Then we'll click New under System Variables. Variable name will be capitalized Java_home. And then we'll browse the directory. And we're looking for the installation location for Java. So for me, that'll be under the C drive, Program Files, Java, and JRE 1.8.0 _431. Click OK, then OK, and then 2 more times OK. Once that is set, navigate to your P6 database folder that you downloaded from Oracle, and you're looking for this DB setup Windows batch file. We are installing a new database and for SQL Server. Enter the password and then create a new name. Then you can use these default private and public usernames. If you are planning on using P6 for a corporate setting, you will want to have unique passwords for both those usernames. And this will be the administrator username that you will use to log into P6. And finally, we get to the administrator user password, which must include 8 characters in total, with 1 being a number and 1 being a letter. I am going to load the sample data. However, none of this data is necessary for P6. This will just increase the time, but give you something to look at once you've installed P6. Okay, that is all complete. I can click Finish now. Next, we're going to run P6 Professional. Click Edit Database Configuration, Add. For the driver type, we're going to select SQL Server. In the connection alias, I'm going to put PMDB for Project Management Database. And the connection string is going to be my PC's name, \SQL Express, which is my server name, /PMDB, which is my database name. Then I can click Next. My username is going to be SA, and then it's going to be the same password as my SQL Server password. I'm going to click Save, and then your test should show up immediately to say test connection is successful. If you get that message, then you're good to select the correct database from Advanced, and then type in your password. And there you go. You've just installed P6 Professional on SQL Server database. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave any questions in the comments. I hope you learned something today, and I'm signing off.